On today's Two Limes and a Lemon podcast, we embark on a fantastic journey with the bright-eyed young King Colwyn and his motley crew of wise men, conjurers, seers, robbers, boys with bowl cuts, Hagrid, and Liam Neeson. Our adventure takes us through the forgotten fantasy gem that is apparently highly dismissed and critically panned, but holds a special spot in my childhood memories. So join us on our quest to discuss the 1983 sci-fi fantasy Krull.
Krull!
Are we having theme music? Like, how do we... Is it just start with us talking?
Yeah, Dave's gonna do us some, like, a jingle, I think.
Dave!
Nat!
Danielle.
Two Limes and a Lemon.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Two Limes and a Lemon podcast. I'm Danielle, your host for today's Hear Me Out episode, and I'm joined, as always, with my two co-hosts, Natalie and Dave. Hi, say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello!
So we're going to start off this episode, as we always do, going around the table and figuring out what everybody's been consuming this week. As a reminder, consuming can be movies, books, music, food, or whatever has been consuming your life for the week. So why don't we start off this week with Natalie. Natalie, what have you been consuming?
So I have recently watched the new Knives Out mystery murder movie, Wake Up Dead Man. I enjoyed both of the other two, like Glass Onion and Knives Out movies. I thought they were really good. So when this new one came out, I was quite excited to have a watch. But I think I've mentioned this to you previously, Danielle, that I found it a completely different tone to the other two. It was a lot
I agree.
a lot darker, I think, than the like comedy that I was expecting from the other two. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it, but if it wasn't part of the Knives Out series, I think I would have enjoyed it more, just because tonally it's so different that it just felt quite jarring against those. But in its own right, it's a good movie.
I fully agree with you, and I think it's one I'll have to rewatch again with my expectations changed a little bit, because I think in the previous two films, they set up this the structure where they kind of establish the story, and then they bring in the Benoit Blanc character, and he starts interacting with all the characters and solving the mystery. Whereas this one, it was a good 45 minutes before Benoit Blanc gets pulled into it. And I don't know if it's just because they thought the Josh O'Connor priest character was so strong, but I just kept waiting for
Daniel Craig.
what's his name to come in.
Yeah,
Daniel Craig to show up. And I think that kind of colored my...
Yeah, because I was a bit like, when's he going to get here? It's almost like you're looking at the door kind of being like, he's going to turn up any minute now. But he's just like, a little tumbleweed goes past. Also, my other issue with it is that it had so many like amazing actors in it, and I felt like they were really underutilized for the, like, it's like a 2 hour and a bit movie, and I felt like none of them got the screen time they deserved.
And that's sort of the strength of these Knives Out films, is they have these huge ensemble casts, and you really get to... You get the character of all these little side characters. They're really well drawn. Whereas in this one, they just felt a little bit
one-dimensional. Yeah. I would say, on a little bit of a tangent here, for Christmas, I got a book. We have like a show over in England called Midsummer Murders. I don't know if you get that over in the States. So it's like a book about Midsummer Murders where you play a detective, but it's like one of those like adventure books where you like turn the page to like whatever page to follow the story sort of thing. Like choose your own adventure. That's the one I was looking for.
I was going to say, most books I read, you have to turn the page.
No, I meant like it gives you the page number. So yeah, you're a detective in Midsummer, and there's obviously like a case you've got to solve, and it's like, what do you want to go and do? And it's like, choose your own adventure. But yeah, it was really good.
Oh, that sounds fun. Did you get through it already?
I did. I solved the case, but it said at the end, like, there was a lot of evidence that I missed. So although I got the right person... I didn't do it how I should have done it.
So, Dave, you weren't watching mysteries over the holidays, but what were you doing?
So, I don't know why.
I thought you was going to say coughing.
No. I've been doing a lot of coughing. But I don't know what I've been doing, but I've been watching this, it's called Amanda and Alan's Italian Job. So, Amanda Holden and Alan Carr, they've been buying these, like... houses in Italy for €1, and they have to like do it all up within a certain amount of time, and it's just them two building a house. Essentially, that's it. Like, it's really run down.
And then what do they sell it and see what the profit
They
is?
sell it and it goes to charity, but you don't ever find out how much it went for. You just see them at the end and it's like, oh, look how much it's changed, and because it's really, really, really run down kind of stuff. It's like proper just trash TV.
Oh, like, even if it's run down, how's it only worth like €1?
Because it's just so like nobody wants it, and there's a lot of work that needs to go into it. But it's funny because it's like,
maybe that's what we should do, guys. Do you want to all chip in to €1 and buy a house
and then do it all up? But no, because the issue is that what I'm seeing though, I like it, but what I'm seeing is like Amanda and Alan would go into the room when it's a mess. They got this guy who goes, oh, this is how you do wall tiling, or this is how you do plasterboard or something. And then Alan Carr would do a really bad job in it, and everyone's laughing at him. Amanda Holding would do an all right job, and then they go, oh, that was good. And they go out and have some wine somewhere. Why clearly they've got like a whole team that just go in there and do the rest of it, and then they go off and come back and go, oh yeah, so we're going to put the pillows out. It's entertaining. Watching like Alan Carr like attempt to do DIY made me kind of go like, I can do some DIY, and I've been doing little bits to my kitchen. After every like 3 episodes, I'm like, I'm going to go give it so it's pushing me to do some like homely stuff as well.
Giving you the enthusiasm.
But they just did one in Spain for Christmas. I just saw it on there, then I've now been working my way backwards, so I'm on season 2 now. So
I've been playing a new video game. I broke down and bought Ghost of Yotai over the holiday because I wanted like a big sprawling game with sort of, the extra time off to really dig my teeth into it. I had loved Ghost of Tsushima. The kid come out several years ago, and it's very similar to that. It's got a female protagonist instead, and she's hunting down these 6 killers that killed her entire family. There's a lot of side quests and little puzzly things, but also fighting, but because it's in like olden Japan times, it's all sword fighting, so it's like right up my alley. You don't have to aim. I basically shoot nobody with an arrow because I take too long to aim, and then they spot me while I'm cocked back to shoot an arrow at them. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's got like really relaxing music, and you do a lot of riding on horses, and yeah. So for this week, again, we're in our series of Hear Me Out films. For my choices this time, I decided to dig through my DVD collection and pick out a bunch of movies I haven't watched in a while, ones that I don't hear about a lot. And then I went looking online to see if they're considered not very good films by other people. And so that's how I came to suggest that we do Krull today. Krull was a movie that I saw probably about the time it came out. Looking up after I found the DVD this week, I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was so critically panned. I thought everybody loved this film. And so I'm curious, had either of you two had an experience with this film prior to watching it for the show?
Like you, I watched it when I was about 8 or 9, and I've seen it a load of times over the years, and I also didn't realise it was critically panned until I was doing research for this, and I was like, oh, it's not like, now it's got a cult following and everybody says how good it is, but obviously at the time it didn't. But what I remember about it being, it was like kind of like the dark fantasy that I hadn't really seen much of previously. Like, it's got some really dark moments in this, which are a little bit glossed over, but they're the moments that stick with me from this movie. There's like the web scene, which obviously we'll go into more later, and there's a guy in quicksand and things. And when you said this, I was like, oh, I'm really excited to see those scenes again.
Dave, have you ever heard of or seen Krull before watching it?
No idea what it was. I didn't watch the trailer, didn't watch anything. It's my first time watching. I knew it was, as soon as it started, I was like, okay, this is rather going to be really good, and it's going to know it's what it is, and it's going to know, and it's going to tick all those boxes, or it's going to be a really drag kind of 2 hours of, oh, this film's going nowhere.
Yeah, it is a long movie.
But I was super surprised, and I really enjoyed the entire thing. It had so many fun characters, and every now and then a character would pop up, and I'm like, I know that guy. Oh, that's him.
Yeah.
That's the guy from EastEnders as a child. That's the guy from... There's like a little kid with a stupid haircut. There's a guy called... For those who love British soap operas, there's a character called Mark Fowler in EastEnders, who's like super old
Which
now.
One was that?
Who did he play? He
played one of the guys that survived to the end. He was like the younger one.
He played...
Oh, that guy? That was my one critique of the whole film. I was like, I don't even know who they've given
Oswin.
One of the few people.
Yeah, Oswin, so he's like a really big like soap star over here at one point.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, by really big, he was like in a daily soap. But he I don't know if his character's dead now or what happened to him, but yeah, when I was like, I know that face from somewhere, and I Googled it. I was like, oh my god, is that what is he doing in this film? Why is he... What happened?
Alongside the likes of Liam Neeson and Robbie Coltrane.
Yeah.
So, as I said before, this is a film that was made in 1983 by the director Peter Yates. Peter Yates is known for a lot of very prestigious films, such as Breaking Away, the Steve McQueen film Bullet, and then a movie called The Dresser. So he has a very... Like, he wasn't strictly a fantasy film.
He was very drama,
actor.
wasn't he?
Had very...
Like, they were like films, weren't they?
Films. Yeah. The other really of note prestige thing in this is the score was written by James Horner, who later went on to get Academy Awards for Titanic score, and he wrote My Heart Will Go On.
Oh my gosh.
But he's also scored a lot of the James Cameron, like the Avatar, Aliens films, stuff like that. And so I think... For me, the music really stood out as one of the very impressive parts of the film.
Do you know, just before you move on to that with James Horner, apparently Sean Connery just hated James Horner, because James Horner was apparently like in discussion of doing the new Bond stuff, but Sean Connery was like, it's too cartoonish, I don't like it. And then it was just sort of like...
That was a good impression.
Sophisticated. I want some good solid music for my film.
I thought we were watching League of Extraordinary Gentlemen again.
Oh god. So apparently James Horner might have done some Bond stuff, but Sean Connery was like, nah.
We start off with this vision of a ship traveling through space. The ship, which we later know is the Dark Fortress, lands, and we join with a very medieval sort of setting, and they're discussing the joining of their two realms so that they can be a force against this beast, this evil creature, and his army of slayers, which is a very metal name for
but however, to get to each other's castles, that road down that cliff on their horses, I was like, that's so dangerous. I'm like, and they come in, like, when they greet them, I was like, mate, you should have given them like a massive like silver trumpet entrance to get to your castle. It takes a very long windy road and like difficult terrain to get to.
Lysa was played by an actress named Lizette Anthony, who was only 17 when the film was made. Lysette Anthony is very... she participated in the commentary, but is very bitter about the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't realise this until I always thought it was her. And then when I was looking on DB and I saw this, I was shocked. I would never have guessed what you're about to say.
Yeah. So the head of the film studio that produced this basically said, we would rather have an unknown American actress than an unknown English actress in this role. So they redubbed all of her dialogue. An actress named Lindsay Krause, who went on to be a fairly successful American actress, did her voiceover.
Imagine that.
Or did all the dialogue for it. And so Lizette Anthony is not so happy about this film.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
It was never like you were watching an old Japanese film dubbing, at least. I'll give them that much credit. Most of her filming experience was just being in the Dark Fortress on a blue screen through the whole thing. So
yeah, she's pretty much on her own the whole movie.
Yeah.
It was very Legend style, wasn't it? Like, That whole idea with like the demon and her, except for this demon was like a fish man rather than like an actual devil.
It's like the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, it's a bit froggish.
Before we meet him, and we don't even meet him until the very end, he's just a voice through most of the film. We meet her betrothed, who is Prince Corwin, played by Ken Marshall, who was an actor who had just finished doing a TV miniseries about Marco Polo that I remember. And so that was his one big credit. And actually, he never really went on to do much else big.
Is that because this movie was panned?
He was very dedicated to the action of the film. And he, like, super trained for all of the fencing scenes. And he does climbing in it. And he basically, where he could, he did his own stunts. So Liza and Corwin meet, and they have their little wedding ceremony with this like strange little transfer of fire.
Oh yeah, never explained how this woman can just conjure fire. It's just like, yeah, that's a thing everyone can do. I thought that the water had produced the fire and then she picked it up, but then later on in the movie she just conjures the fire.
Well, he could put his hand in lava, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, I thought because they never really complete the ceremony. She never gives it back to him. So I thought she still sort of had it with her.
She's just got it in her pocket like a flame.
Yeah. She's symbolically she is carrying the flame for Corwin through this whole film.
She's like holding the torch for him.
Then we get one of my favorite characters, Ynir, who's this like old, wise sage man, and they don't really explain why he's coming along, but he wakes up Corwin and tells him, you have to get you're now the king, you have to get Lysette back, and if you're really the king, you need to get this like special weapon that is part of your destiny. And so then they go on this little mission to get this thing called the glaive, which is like a large Chinese throwing star without points, but then you hit something and the points come out. And the point of that is seemingly you'd think the glaive would play a large part in the film because it's like what is on all the promotional materials, but it's long forgotten through most of the film.
I mean, at the end it's basically a glorified like cutter to go through a wall.
So then the bulk of the film is the journey of Ynir and Corwin to try and find Liza at the Dark Fortress. And along the way, I think first they meet this conjurer, this not very good magician named Ergo. And he's played by the guy, I don't know if he's like a well-known British actor, but he's played by the guy who was the math teacher in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's what I said to Jason. He was like, I recognise him. And I was like, yes, he's from Charlie and Chocolate, which wasn't where he remembered him from, but I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the guy that's like telling them how many candy bars you'd have to eat to actually find a golden ticket.
But Ergo is able to basically change himself into other things. Sort of in the background, we see another great character, this Cyclops, Rel, who is watching them and protecting them over part of their journey before joining their band of merry men. Mm-hmm. And then we meet this band of escaped prisoners led by Torquil. Yeah. But the band is full of future, more famous actors than anybody else in this film. And so we get Rune, who is Robbie Williams, who I learned from the behind the scenes commentary. The character originally didn't have much dialogue, and Robbie Williams.
Who's Robbie Williams?
Not Robbie Williams. Robbie Coltrane.
Oh, he's Robbie Williams in it. I must have missed him.
Brits all look the same. But he like negotiated to get more dialogue, and he was just like a shining light on the set, and people just loved him, and he was always cracking jokes and stuff, so they gave him more lines.
Right.
And then young Liam Neeson, who is doing a lot of face acting at the beginning because he's not given much dialogue.
He does come into his own by the end of it, but at the beginning he's not much for his character to do.
No. Oh, and then the Cyclops is another famous British actor. He was in a guy named Bernard Breslow, and he was in the Carry On films, apparently. But you can't see because he's covered in 2 hours
never know
worth
it
of
was
Cyclops
him.
makeup.
Yeah.
For me, it's these these scenes, these like tableaus within the film that are really memorable.
I think you're right in the saying it's more scene driven, because what I remember about it more is like the set pieces. I mean, the sets in this are like amazing, really, like the expanse of the sets that they've built, and also that most of it's practical. Like obviously the bits that you remember are like him climbing up that massive mountain, which, to be fair, it does take a long time in the movie for him actually to climb that scene. It's like a good 5-minute scene of him climbing up the side of a cliff, and like the forest with like the quicksand in it, the bit with the spiderweb scene, the like big quarry bit where they have like the big horses and stuff. Like I definitely say it breaks up for me into like, oh, and then this happens and then this happens, rather than like the character arc, so to speak.
How about you, Dave, watching this the first time?
Yeah, it's not very like, all the characters' motives are to go save the princess, right? So we have to go around the whole of Spain and Italy to try and like find her. But yeah, it was very Alice in Wonderland-esque, wasn't it? Because it was kind of like we go to one location, have an event, go to another location, have another event. But did it really well because you got to see a plethora of different kind of like troped fantasy characters mixed with this sci-fi-esque kind of world. It
built the world,
yeah, it's very much
like all these things are in it.
Because it almost felt like it was like, and you had all these like amazing sound stages that was I think it was filmed in Pinewood Studios in the UK.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so they had all these massive sets and stuff to work with. So it felt very sort of like thought out and had a lot of love poured into it, I think. Especially you don't see that nowadays with films. It's all very much like the green screen and stuff like that. So seeing a film like this, it really sort of brought back like thoughts of like Willow, Legend, and those kind of old sort of styled movies. So that's why I think I liked it, just because it had that kind of like pure old cinema kind of like, we build the things, we go to these locations. You have to, like you said, climb that big massive mountain. I was trying to look for this, like, is he attached to anything? I was like, I don't think so. He's just generally climbing.
Yeah.
They addressed that in the commentary. The director was like, if we had done that today, he would have had a wire on.
Yeah.
We would have erased out the wire. So no, he was just, I think it wasn't probably as high up as it looked. Like they probably did some perspective to make it look like he was at the top of a peak, but he was actually climbing. And then when it got very dangerous, they had a double for him. But Ken Marshall, I guess, really wanted to do the stunt, so it was a lot of him climbing. But they did a lot of models too, I think, where they couldn't do the full size.
But it's funny, I could see in the when they're attacking the castle at the start, what the bad guys called?
Slayers?
The Slayers. They've all come in.
Slayers!
They're you can see the wire on them as they're scaling the wall and stuff. So that's when he was climbing the mountain. I was like, you must see that. You should be able to see the wire. But I was like, nope, he's got no wire. He's literally just climbing a mountain. So yeah, I think that's
got no strings on him.
No, yeah, he's gone for it. So I definitely feel like, like with this film, it's very much like one scene after another, rather than like this character driven. Like the character doesn't change from start to end. He's not like a slight coward or something like that, or
he doesn't learn anything.
No, it's I'm going to save the girl of my dreams and that's it. I don't care. I thought it was very good in the fact that they didn't mind killing off people. They had such a load of people there as fodder. But
we were talking about Stranger Things
last week
previously, and there was a preciousness about killing people in the finale of that. I feel like they did pad themselves out a bit because there were a lot of unnamed criminals in Torquil's band that got killed in that final siege. But there's like a few characters, like the seer character, and then
the Cyclops.
Uriel.
Poor Cyclops. He goes, I'm going to stay here, and then he's like, runs all the way there. There's a Cyclops. He's like, I was like, he's going to get out or something, and it's just like, no, he gets squished between the mountain. I was like, oh no, worst way to go.
I really loved the mythology they put, because I don't know if that's like you guys are more into fantasy realm things than I am, but the Cyclops, they had
know when their time is up, isn't it? That they know when they're going to die.
when they're going to die. And so he leaves them at a certain point in their journey. They pick up these fast moving horses so that they can get to the
fire horses
to the castle. And he was like, I know this is my time, and when it's your time, you have to accept it. But then somehow, I didn't quite understand how he determines that they are in trouble at the castle.
I think he just decided, no, it's not my time, and I'm going to go and try and help them, and then that can be my time. I think it was more like a suicide mission.
So he jumps on the Clydesdale and rides off.
However, with that scene, one of the bits that made me chuckle to myself was the Cyclops get killed, and then the King of the Thieves people, that character.
Turquil.
Oh my God, is it his little roll?
Yeah, he does a little roll and then has to kind of get up and shuffle along. I was like, oh.
It would have been quicker for him just to run. Like the Slayers are shooting at him. He hides to the side and then he does this roll that's like the slowest roll I've ever seen. It's like if in Dark Souls you're wearing too heavy armour. And then he kind of doesn't make it all the way and then gets up and shuffles away. It's great. And I did laugh out loud at that.
Like, do we want another take of that?
Maybe it was an actor's choice. Maybe it was because he was like, that guy over there, he's doing all his stunts. I want to do my stunts.
Yeah, but he obviously needed to go to like roly-poly training.
Yeah, it was such a bad, slowest roly-poly I've ever seen. Yeah. That's why Liam Neeson got killed straight after, because of his stupid like stunt that he tried to do. Yeah.
So let's go back a few scenes to get through some of these memorable scenes. I think meeting Ergo was probably pretty memorable. They meet
he comes in like a meteorite.
Apparently that was also a practical effect. That was like on a wire, like a fireball thing, that like an explosive that they
really
did on a wire to shoot
I'm like
at them.
a 5,000 like miles out of course. I'm like, well, you could easily get to this bloody castle.
The other cool thing about Ergo is they have these transformations of him becoming these various different animals. And it's all done through animation, like layering of the film. And like, it looks almost like it's very much like hand-drawn animation of him becoming like a duck and then pig at one point. And then the cutest when he becomes a basset hound later.
And a tiger at the end.
He was one of my favourites, to be fair. I think he's sort of like British kind of silliness to him was all right in the end.
I mean, I won't go into our favourites and worst, but I will say the only time I liked Ergo was when he turned into the puppy for the that was grieving the seer.
Oh yeah, that little kid.
He wasn't my favourite, no.
He was right. Didn't he say like he had like a funny little like catchphrase and stuff?
It was like, I'm Ergo, I'm small in stature, but I can't remember the rest.
Got magic.
No, neither can I. It was a great motto.
Yeah, but then
I do remember though watching, because I was like, oh, is he like super short? And then he was standing next to the hero, and I was like, no, they're about the same.
Yeah,
I don't know how tall.
Yeah,
to be.
I thought he was supposed to be like a little short man, but he's like, oh no, he's just he's the same height as everyone else. Yeah.
But speaking of height, the guy who played the Cyclops was naturally 6'7", and they made him lips to be even like a little taller.
Sorry.
What happened there?
It's because you said his height. It made me laugh.
What, 6? Oh, no. No. I didn't even catch that.
The thing is, that's where that originated it from, didn't it? Because that's where it all came from.
It was that guy's height.
Yeah, bringing it back.
Yeah, that's the secret to it all. We can all end it now.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He was about 6'7".
The Dark Forest moves every day. And so that's part of the trick in trying to find Lysa, is that you can't just set a course for her. They have to figure out where the Dark Fortress is going to be. So they've got this seer, but the beast's control is so strong. They have to go to this one particular spot for the seer to find it. And this is where we get to, we can touch upon my favorite fashion. Is I thought my personal favorite fashion was the seer's outfits. He's in this cave with all these like emerald kind of crystals around him, and he's got like robes that match, that are like a nice dark green, and then his walking cape is this like kind of gray number with rows of like feathering, like it looks like novelty yarn to me. That
it's like black and white like fluff.
But in close second is King Corwin's super tight striped, black and white striped pants that leave little to the imagination.
See, I would have said Alyssa Anthony when the like Frogman Dark Lord is trying to like persuade her that she should be the queen. He like pimps out her like white dress with all this like mirrored effect on it, and she gets like a crown and stuff.
Yeah, it looked very much like Gustav Klimt's The Kiss.
Yeah, like very much so, yeah.
Now, once we get up the Seer and Titch, like the full crew that are going to go on this quest, and the first spot they end up is in this bog area, which I feel like a lot of fantasy films, particularly from like my childhood, have a scene in like a boggy marsh area,
like Never-Ending
Story, and Labyrinth with the one that stinks.
Yeah, the bog of eternal stench.
Much as you expect, if there's quicksand, people are going to sink into the quicksand, and thus they do. This quicksand was apparently water with cut up and dyed cork.
I will used to say, I remember when I watched this scene, that this scene where the double seer turns up used to scare me. He's got like jet black eyes.
Oh yeah.
He like has got these like creepy hands that are on like the staff and stuff, and he like strangles the double of himself, sort of thing. And that I remember that used to freak me out. And then also when
it's such a weird effect.
He gets stabbed by the Cyclops, like he throws a spear at him and he makes like this horrible like, scream noise.
But his face like deteriorates too, and then he sinks into the quicksand. But they do a couple of times this effect where the beast is controlling somebody, and it's the same sort of like hand-drawn animation to just elongate the fingernails on the hand. It's very, very creepy. And then they never really show the hand strangling, but you just see the face without seeing the actual strangling. I think that one also stuck with me. Probably for me, the most memorable scene, which is going to the Widow of the Web. It's this woman who, once the seer is dead and they can't figure out
where the castle's gonna be.
Find the castle is, Ysir remembers that they can consult the Widow of the Web. I don't quite understand why she has the power to...
I also don't understand why she's got the same name as the other lady.
Yes, that
was
also...
Called Lissa. I'm like, why?
Is there one name that these people could think of? Or was that the thing that really convinces her? Because he was like, I'm trying to save a woman with your name. And she was like, oh, okay. Lissa must live on, I guess. But we learned she has been banished to live in the middle of this like massive web guarded by this huge crystal spider, and it's because she got pregnant from Ysir and then killed the kid.
Yeah, so she murdered a baby, and it's like,
she murdered a baby. But I didn't understand then, if she's the Widow of the Web, who is she a widow of?
I don't know.
Was she married to somebody else who died?
Unclear. He shouted across to her and she could hear what he was saying, so I'm like, well, you didn't really need to go across the web. He could have just shouted, where's the castle? And then she should have shouted back. And we wouldn't have even needed anyone to die.
It's all a little hazy on how things work. She has to break she's only able to turn the hourglass once, so she's wasted her turn on him. So she breaks it and pours the sand in his hand, and then he has to climb through the web again, holding on to the sand.
But why didn't he just put it in his boot?
He dies.
Because he's got to hold it.
I don't know.
He's got to hold it.
He's got to hold it.
He's got to hold it.
Did you say he has to hold it?
I think so. But he makes it even difficult because he's got to like go across the beam with just holding one hand. So it's like a tightrope kind of thing he's got to do whilst holding on.
Yeah.
But also like making sure he's not dropped any of the sands. And he's like, oh God, this is the worst sort of idea ever. But I did like the spider. I think the spider was done really well. I liked how it was sort of crawling around. I didn't know the distance of where the spider was compared to where the man was, but it kept showing. I like that little animation it did of it like jiggling its bum, and it made a little web, and it went down. Yeah. But I didn't know if they were connected together, the spider and the woman, if they were like the same kind of thing, or why she's in there. But I did like that kind of scene.
I thought he was sort of her captor. He was there to make sure she never left her prison.
But yeah, it was a good, nice little, and it was like I killed your son. You can never forgive me, can you? And his kind of response is like, I didn't even know this was a thing, so of course I forgive you because I don't even know that was going on. It's like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like, oh no, not my son. I didn't know about until literally 2 seconds ago. Like, I'm old now. I don't care. Like, I'm past that. I've seen you. Look, you're like, I'm old and you're like really young still. So this is perfect. We can make another one if you really want to. But how much time we got?
They don't have to consult something to find the widow of the Webb. So he has known where she's at. And
but it's like a last minute thing, isn't it?
He just left her there.
Left her. Yeah.
He could have gone in there at any point.
So he
but he chose to do it on this other epic quest. When they're on the fortress, like outside, and like you said, then they're all getting shot at, and they're like, we can't move until the Cyclops turns up. I was like, oh, okay. But then later on, Colwyn or whatever his name is, he throws the glaive out, and it's like killing all these people, like bouncing all around the place. I'm like, why didn't he throw it outside then? And then maybe it was got rid of the people.
It was his secret technique that he didn't want to reveal in case the big guy finds
Too
it.
early.
And he's like, we need to teleport away now. We need to go.
When he gets the glaive, Ynir tells him, because he says, oh, I need to practice using this. And he was like, no, you'll know how to use it whenever the time is right. And so I'm guessing there was some sort of like, oh, yeah, the time is right now. The one time I use this weapon that we spent
this
20
fidget
minutes
spinner.
Trying to like take out a castle or to infiltrate a castle is very easy because the castle at the start, they shot one guy and then they got into the castle and started like taking everyone out. When they go to take out the black castle, the black fortress, they just they're getting shot at, but they just all seem to get in quite quick. So I was like, there's no one guarding the entrance. Same again. Is this a trope with fantasy stuff like Mount Doom? You can just go straight through the front door. There's no one outside.
No guard,
like literally, if you have a guard outside, that's like a troll or something, you'll be fine.
Well, maybe the idea is though that this thing moves so like all over the time that nobody ever tries to get into it. So they're like, oh wait, somebody is sieging the castle?
What if it just turns up in the middle of a village one time? Like, do they control where it appears or is it random?
Yeah, because there's a lot of space it needs. It's quite massive.
It just like flattens a little village.
Yeah.
The smaller set pieces in this final battle were more interesting than the actual final battle against the beast.
Agreed.
Which I found to be a little bit like they keep the beast is so far in the distance from where he's fighting, and it kind of looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, and he's like it's a frisbee throwing the glaive at this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like it's too detached for it to be like any real like peril. It feels like.
Yeah, and more interesting were some of the side things. So we get Ergo and the boy are in another part of the fortress, and he turns himself into a tiger to protect the boy.
Yeah. Now, I have a question about that. That's a real tiger, I assume, on set.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I said to Jason, I was like, there's no way. Like, nowadays, they would never put a kid, like, that close to a tiger. But there is a scene where the tiger has its head on the boy's lap. And I was like, that's real. Like, I don't think they've faked that.
It was sedated.
Oh, right. Well, they wouldn't have done that nowadays either, then.
Yeah, no. And apparently the mother was very nervous about it. And then the boy in the behind-the-scenes footage was like, he's just like a big pussycat.
Oh, my God.
He's so soft.
They definitely wouldn't have got away with that.
With that, I think we can go on to our favorite characters, least favorite characters, and favorite scenes. Natalie, do you want to start off?
Yeah, I'll start off. My favourite character was Rel. I think you said his name was the Cyclops.
Yep.
I remember him being my favourite character when I was little as well. I remember being gutted when he got squished. Because I felt like he was just like a really powerful like character. I think also like he's just like visually like how they've done his makeup and stuff. It's really impressive. So I think that's why it holds like a special place, and he's like my favourite. My least favourite was Ergo. I just, again, I think it stems from when I used to watch it and I was younger. I like him when he's an animal, but I don't particularly like him when he's a man. I just find him a bit annoying, a bit like, I suppose he's the comedic like value of the movie, but I don't know. I just felt like it didn't really need him.
I liked the Ergo as my favourite character. Just because he was a bit silly He turned into a goose, turned into a pig. He kind of did the wizard stuff that was like just a bit silly. Didn't really know what. Yeah, like you said, Nat didn't know his purpose behind it, but he was just there to kind of be like the comic relief, I guess. I didn't like the big man, the frog man,
but the Dark Lord
Beast?
guy,
the
Dark
beast
or whatever. Yeah,
just because he didn't really do much. He was like massive in the background, but he didn't really. He kind of just stood there and was like, ah. It was kind of like, oh, it just turned into like 70s Doctor Who. Like, do you know in those games where the boss is in the background and you just got to keep throwing stuff? You can't actually fight it. Yeah, it's like one of those. It's in the background going, ah, and you just got to throw stuff at it.
I think my favorite, I really loved Rel. He would be my almost my favorite, but my favorite was Ynir, and I just loved how he was sort of acting as a father figure, and he has all these like pithy lines that he says to Colwyn to inspire him, and then he sacrifices himself, so I thought that was nice. My least favorite was probably the princess, just because she didn't have much agency, and I think she was kind of underused. I think there's other films that have been made since that have a similar, where the princess is held captive, where they do a little bit more. I mean, we mentioned Legend. I would have liked to have seen more from her.
Like, at least she has like a crisis of like faith sort of thing, but then she overcomes it in Legend. So at least she had like a bit of a character arc. This one just had nothing.
So how about favorite scenes?
I would have said the Widow of the Web scene, just because I remember, like, obviously I don't like spiders, so when I was younger that scene used to freak me out. But watching it again this time, I would say it's probably the quicksand scene, and it's like two parts. It's the one where the guy is drowning and he throws the bag and everyone's trying to make like a human chain to get him. And then also when you see the dead seer's body in the quicksand and he's kind of like slowly like oozing into it.
How about you, Dave?
There's two bits I kind of liked. I liked when they were stuck in that cave and the plastic daggers were coming to poke him in the chest or in the neck. I was like, just they looked so like the little spikes coming out. That
They're
was
really
it.
Bendy,
I was like, just push it slightly to the left, you'll be fine. And I liked when he got the glaive, when he stuck his hand in molten lava and was like, yep, there we go. I was like, he doesn't need, if he can withstand lava, I don't think he needs to worry about the beast.
Yeah. No, that is true.
It's fine.
How about you, Danielle?
I think my fave was the Widow of the Web. I just thought it was beautiful, and it's so memorable looking, this crystal looking web with this sort of cocoon in the middle where this woman lives, in this really fascinating looking little crystal spider that guards the web. So I guess with that, we will go around and get everybody's rating on this film.
Oh, go. I gave it 4 out of 5 because it's a film I do like. So when you said it was Hear Me Out, I was like, you don't need to convince me. I already love it. It's a film I've watched many times over the years, and I'll probably watch it many more. So for me, it's a great fantasy movie. It is a little bit on the long side, so if I was gonna pick a fantasy movie, it may not be this one, but it is enjoyable and it's got lots of memorable moments.
Dave?
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 10.
No.
4 out of 5. Yeah, it was great. It had its moments. Music was really epic. It definitely sort of threw that fantasy vibe. I like the twist with sort of like sci-fi monsters. Some bits could have been a bit shorter or cleaned up a bit more, like the whole scene. But overall, like, a lovely cast, lovely sort of story. I liked it, enjoyed it. So 4 out of 5.
I'm going to round out the scores with another 4. I'm also going to give it a 4. It's a movie that has a special memory for me and has held up. So with that, thank you all for watching this with me, and thanks to everybody listening, and we will catch you next time. So goodbye, you guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.